Can I get a hallelujah? Hallelujah, brothers and sisters. It's time for the show with no name. Get ready for liftoff. 9, countdown with me. Here we go. 5, 3, 2. Come on. Here we go. Hold on to your hats, folks. Come on. Yes. Yes, 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 yes. On Vaughn Radio. Let's go. Come on. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard. Welcome one, welcome all. Show with no namers from around the world. Wherever you're tuned in from, thank you. Thanks for learning and laughing with us here day after day, year after year on Vaughn Radio. And on behalf of all of us, welcome back to school. La vuelta al cole, back to the grind, or back to the grindstone. Son estas frases que hay que saber. Because you say, listen, if you say it in Spanish, then the chances are you're going to say it in English. You know? And how many times have I heard people say, la vuelta al cole, la vuelta al cole? Well, jot it down. More importantly, say it aloud. Back to the grind. And we looked at that word grind yesterday. To grind something is to pulverize it. Moler, triturar, picar. Carne molida para las hamburguesas. Ground beef. Because it's ground. And some people grind their teeth. In fact, I grind my teeth. Rechinar, you say? I grind my teeth. But now, since I have a retainer, as many of you know, I'm getting my teeth straightened. I don't grind. Well, my teeth don't get ground anymore. So a really, really irregular verb there. Grind, ground. All right, my amigos, welcome to another exciting show where you are the star, you participate, and speaking of, let's take a look at this week's question of the week. That's right, amigos. That's right. Question of the week. And this week, I want you to tell me something pretty simple. Nothing too crazy, nothing too complicated. This week, we're going to be talking about musical instruments. And, sometimes I ask you to go deep in, the deepest parts of your soul and do some soul searching. But this week, it's quite simple. But you always have to defend your answer. And I think I speak on behalf of all of us, all the show with no namers here and listening. We look forward to hearing from you. Esperamos con mucha ilusión. This, guys, if you don't participate, I don't know why. Why? Because students tell me week after week, year after year, they say, Alberto, I don't have a chance to speak, to practice my spoken English. And I said, well, I've never really heard you participate in the question of the week. The question of the week is the perfect opportunity for you to practice your English, your spoken English, once a week. So I urge you guys to participate. If you have not participated in the past, what's holding you back? And if something is holding you back, it's, yo creo del contexto Se sabe. Retener, is that the word? Contener, sujetar, reprimir. What is holding you back from participating? You're just one voice message away from improving your English speaking. And as you guys know, I always comment on the audio. So I'm like, oh, this is really good. Wonderful expression that you gave us here. Careful with the pronunciation of this or that. So the only thing that's going to happen is A, you're going to practice speaking on a weekly basis. B, you're going to point out other idiomatic expression, other teaching points, such as common mistakes that may come up. So you're not just going to help yourself, you're also helping others as well. And there's only one way to get good at speaking. And you know what that is? Speaking, right? There's no shortcut there. So I urge you all to participate in the question of the week. You send me a 1-minute voice message, around a minute. It shouldn't take you more than a minute to say, hi, my name is, my favorite instrument is this, and this is why. Don't get into, too much, because remember, the whole idea here is working on getting your point across, but also being concise, not going on and on and on. You want to keep your audience's attention. So folks, if you haven't participated, make this the first week that you do it. If you have participated and you know who you are, keep it up. It is a way to basically make sure that you're speaking every single week. And you know what? You can do as many versions as you want. Just make sure you send me the final version. All right. What is your favorite musical instrument and why? And remember this, guys, I do not, capital N-O-T, I do not want you reading. Do not, this is not what I want you to do. Si me conocieras, sabrías lo que realmente me apasiona son los aviones. Para mucha gente, el avión es simplemente un medio de... Whoa. Right? So don't do that. Just have a general idea of what you want to say. I mean, you can write it down word for word if you want, but have a general idea of what you want to say. Rehearse it. I always recommend that you record the rehearsal. Graba el ensayo, because sometimes, since you're not feeling the pressure, what happens? Well, you do a great job. You knock it out of the park. Haces un home run. So, folks, tell us what your favorite instrument is. Send a 1-minute voice message to my voicemail, to my email, which is aalonso@grupovon.com. And before we get started with today's pop quiz, yesterday we took a look at some musical words. Might as well take a look at some today as well. We said if somebody is fit as a, do you remember? He's as fit as a, está en buenísima forma, está hecho un pincel, as fit as a fiddle, we say, right? There was another one we looked at, is to play second fiddle. Well, there's another one that came to mind, and that one is to blow your own horn or to blow your own trumpet. And what does that mean? That means, oh, let me tell you all the reasons why I rock. Let me tell you why I'm awesome. Okay, so blowing your, echarte rosas, I think you might even say echarte rosas o algo, to blow your own horn or to blow your own trumpet. We looked at It Takes Two to Tango. If you haven't heard the song, it's a great one. Do you say in Spanish? No sé, creo que me suena, pero quizás en espanglicismo. Face the music, enfrentarte a la música. It means the consequences. Okay, listen, you did it. Now you've got to face the music. One that my mother used to say to me when I was younger, and I was, I had a chip on my shoulder. I had a bad attitude. She would say, you better change your tune, mister. You'd better. Pero omitimos la D. O sea, la larga. You had better. Nadie lo dice así. La contracción. You'd better. Americanos hasta nos comemos la D. We say, you better. You better change your tune, young man. Eso es cambia de actitud, ¿no? Cambia la canción que estás tocando, right? What's another one? You say un disco rayado, somebody who repeats themselves. We don't say a scratched record, quite similar though. We say, man, you sound like a broken record. You sound like a broken record. Perhaps some of these idiomatic expressions will ring a bell. Oh, and that word, ring a bell, so not that word, cencerro is the word, because I've heard people use that word, but the first time I was exposed to that word was, estás como un cencerro. And then I realized that that's a cowbell, if I'm not mistaken. En inglés es bastante lógico, una campana de una vaca. All right, my amigos, some musical idiomatic expressions. We also looked at some as well. Music is a part of life. Language is musical. And I'd love to know what your favorite musical instrument is and why in this week's question of the week. But now it's time for another challenge. It's today's pop quiz. Pop quiz. Yes. That's right, amigos. Your pop quiz over here. And I've got to tell you something. We've got something for everybody over at the Von Tienda. It's vontienda.com. And it is the one stop shop for everything you might be looking for. We've got a material called Prepara tu B2. And as you know, B2, B2, that's a very important certificate, the first certificate of English, the B2. So we've got materials, we've got courses as well to help you prepare. And of course, these come with audio. You can pick them all up over at vontienda.com, vontienda.com for just under 16 euros, menos de 16 euros. And you can get it all. And we've also got B1 as well. But since you guys are a higher level, let's listen to some audio from Speak English B2, B2, available at vontienda.com. And then, as always, I'll have a mission or two for you.
Sarah's provided that we don't talk about controversial issues. Estaré encantado de darte la información siempre y cuando no menciones mi nombre. I'll be happy to give you the information provided that you don't mention my name. Te dejarán entrar siempre y cuando lleves puesto un traje. They'll let you in provided that you wear a suit. Probablemente ella se vaya un mes a Japón siempre y cuando apruebe sus exámenes. She'll go to Japan for a month provided that she passes her exams. Invertiremos siempre y cuando recibamos el 10% de los beneficios. We'll invest provided that we receive 10% of the profits. Test yourself. Te lo diré siempre y cuando lo mantengas en secreto. I'll tell you as long as you keep it a secret. Or, I'll tell you provided that you keep it a secret. Siempre que todo el mundo esté de acuerdo, pospondré la reunión. As long as everyone agrees, I'll postpone the meeting. Provided that everyone agrees, I'll postpone the meeting. Lo venderé siempre y cuando pagues el precio. I'll sell it as long as you pay in cash. Or, I'll sell it provided that you pay in cash. Siempre y cuando no toquen jazz, iré. As long as they don't play jazz, I'll go. Or, provided that they don't play jazz, I'll go. Siempre y cuando no llueva, te esperaré fuera. As long as it doesn't rain, I'll wait for you outside. Or, provided that it doesn't rain, I'll wait for you outside. Puedes irte con ellos siempre y cuando te comportas bien. You can come with them as long as you behave well. Or, you can come with them provided that you behave well. Le ayudaré siempre que él esté de acuerdo. I'll help him as long as he agrees. Or, I'll help him provided that he agrees.
¿Conoces Weekend Town? La nueva iniciativa de Vaughan.
Pues no.
Es un fin de semana de inmersión en inglés. Y es nuevísimo.
A ver, cuéntame más.
Tendrás una inmersión lingüística total durante 2 días. Un total de 24 horas hablando con angloparlantes de todo el mundo.
¡Wow! ¡Qué interesante!
Ganarás confianza y soltura a la hora de comunicarte en inglés. Mejorarás tu comprensión auditiva y tus habilidades conversacionales en una situación de comunicación real en Weekend Town, y te sorprenderás con todo lo que puede avanzar tu inglés en un fin de semana. Weekend Town de Vaughan, un fin de semana de inmersión en inglés. More information about Weekend Town or Vaughan Town or any of our amazing initiatives, you can get those over at grupovaughan.com/cursos destacados. And we've got a plethora of amazing courses, from one-to-one classes to group classes to Disney classes with the kids on the weekends. All the information is at grupovaughan.com/cursos destacados. If you're looking at, or looking for, I should say, materials for self-study, well, then you can go right to vaughantienda.com. Also, a quick reminder, folks, mark your calendars, October 2nd. That's right, the 2nd of October. It is the first Wednesday of October. I will be hosting the Vaughan Radio Trivia Night. That's right, it's going to be tons of fun. And not only is it the Vaughan Radio Trivia Night, but it also happens to be, da la casualidad que es, it happens to be the 16th anniversary of the Show with No Name. The Show with No Name started in 2008, on October 2nd, 2008. And we're going to be getting together, had to count it, 16 years later, celebrating our friendship, celebrating the fact that you guys are learning English every single day. It's awesome, folks. Keep up the great work. I'm proud of you guys. And again, Vaughan Radio would be nothing without our listeners. All right. But also, that is a certain responsibility that carries. That means you guys have to participate and be proactive. Don't just listen to Vaughan Radio. Interact with Vaughan Radio. Practice your speaking. with Vaughn Radio. Whatever you want, make friends, go to events with Vaughn Radio. We love hanging out with you guys, as you know. All right, today's pop quiz is kind of a free form here. I want you to give me 3 examples. You use your own examples. As always, the more you personalize it, the more it makes sense in your world, in your context. I want you to use as long as and provided that. What I want you to do is use one with provided that, okay? And the other 2 with as long as. Why? Because as long as is more common. Provided that sounds a bit formal, if you ask me. We'll go provided that he bring his children along, right? But I want you to think of an example. Where is there something in your life right now where there's a condition? I'll meet up with her as long as she doesn't drive me nuts. Quedo con ella siempre que no me vuelva loco. And I love that siempre que in Spanish, because that, for me, is a key into another world, the world of the elusive subjunctive. Oh, man, you know us Guiris, we hate the subjunctive tense. It's horrible. But I know that every time I say siempre que, that's subjunctive. So, as long as. Lo haré siempre que me ayudes. No me ayudas? Because me ayudas es la pregunta. So, and the subjunctive is the one that's not the question. I don't know if this is a system or a theory or a methodology, but it works for me 9 times out of 10. I still make mistakes with the damn subjunctive. All right, let's see what we've got here. We've got Marisol in the house. Good morning, Marisol. Great to have you on board with us. And Marisol says, good morning, dears. Let's keep practicing English to reach a better level to communicate with individuals from all over the world, because practice makes perfect. Marisol, that's the tude. Tude is it's a more modern way now that the young kids say attitude. The same thing with Riz. Have you guys heard Riz? Esto es lo que están diciendo todos los chavales aquí. Riz. He's got a lot of Riz. Charisma. Yeah. Je ne sais quoi. So a lot of Riz. Practice makes perfect. Marisol, you have got the right tude and you've got a lot of Riz. Es que nos hemos hecho vagos. No podemos decir nada que no tiene una sílaba ya. Oh my! But that's always the way, right? Don't you remember that? Your grandparents were always complaining about how you use the language, and your parent, So the young kids always have their slang, is what I'm getting at. Does that mean you have to use it? I wouldn't. You want to sound like a boomer? Hey man, you got a lot of Riz. No, but you should understand it. I'm not saying you should walk around and use that teenage lingo. Lingo is jerga. But good to know it. Good to be familiar with it. Right? We used to say it was awesome. They say it was lit. Oh, man, the party was lit. Encendido. Yeah. Hey, do I use the word? Not really. I stick with my words, but I know them. And that's an amazing thing about English. English is constantly evolving all the time. All right, let's see. There's Born to Iron Man checking in. He says, good morning, show with no namers. Good morning to you, sir. It's a pleasure to have you on board. He said, I guess AA wanted to say tirarse flores. I don't remember what I said, but in English, it's to toot your own horn, to blow your own horn, to blow your own trumpet. I don't remember what I said, but I said algo así, right? So tirarse flores. Maybe I said tirarse rosas. Well, you get what I'm saying. The important thing is that you know it in English. Let's see. Chris Valrol is here, ready to rock. I've got some superstars in the house today. And she says, morning show with no namers. Bravo, Alberto. Now you're also a great technician. Well, hey, as Marisol just said, practice makes perfect. No doubt about it, folks. We'll be right back, my amigos. We've got a lot to cover on today's show. When we come back, we've got our Say What soundbite. Then we've got to check our pop quiz answers, where we're going to use as long as and provided that in our own context. I look forward to hearing your examples. And then we've got our spelling bee. All that and much more when we come back. So stick around. Hey, amigos, welcome back. Welcome back. It's time for part 2 of today's show with no name. Don't forget, before this show, you can warm up with my good buddy Fitz in his master class. It's called No Excuses. Fitz will put you to the test. And it's great, too, because, again, you can learn from his students by learning from their mistakes, from their strengths, their weaknesses. It's a great way to put yourself in another student's shoes. Almost all of our shows require participation, too, because, well, think about it. It's an English class. Are you supposed to just sit there quiet? Sitting on your hands? No. Any class, you should be participating. And even if you can't participate in the group, don't worry. The idea is to participate on a piece of paper, in a notebook, if you will. And the most important thing you can do is participate aloud. For those of you who participated in our pop quiz, for example, it's a matter of saying those 3 sentences aloud. All right, but while you guys are working on that pop quiz, let's kick off with the Say What soundbite. Say what? What? All right, amigos, it's your Say What soundbite here on the show with no name. I hope you guys are ready to listen carefully. Yesterday it was tough, but we had some students who were able to figure it out. So great job. Guys, I've got to tell you something. This show is, I would say, B2, B300, because we learn totally native things here. Those things that you won't find in any book. Well, unless they're my books. You've got English Everywhere, my first book. You've got This Book is the Milk. That's my second one. You've got This Book is the Milk 2. You've got English on the Go, Aprende Inglés Viajando por el Mundo. And my latest book, This Book is the Shit. You can pick it up at Von Tienda, bontienda.com, or wherever fine books are sold. Also, a quick reminder, we have offices in Madrid, in Barcelona, in Bilbao, in Vigo, in Valladolid, Valencia, Santander, and Zaragoza. So if you're in any of those amazing cities, stop by. Pásate. Stop by. Pop by. You can say either one. Stop by or pop by. You can get a free level test. Or maybe you just want to take a look around. There's no strings attached, is what I'm trying to say. Que no te vamos a pedir nada. If anything, we'll give you some guidance, un poco de dirección, no? Say, okay, well, I learned English in high school, but then I haven't touched it in 20 years. And because you'll be in a very different situation than somebody who, last year did a master's program or something. So every student is an individual. And even though we're all making the same mistakes and we're all, in the same boat, en la misma situación, everybody has different needs as well. Everybody has different time constraints. And nobody knows that more than us at Vaughn. So make sure you reach out. You can send a message to us on social media, or you can stop by in person, or you've also got the website grupovaughn.com/cursos destacados. All right, well, the Say What soundbite, folks, is where we listen to a famous person speaking. I prepare a soundbite for you every day, and we hear it 4 times. At first, I just want your feedback in your best English. And hopefully, before or after the 4th listen, I want you to give me word for word what this person is saying. All right, is everybody ready? Here's the Say What soundbite for the first time.
Yeah, because I don't have that much material, really. No, I told a dreadful story about how I got trapped in my house. My finger got jammed in a window, and I had to call for help, and I was just wearing underwear at the time, and they were...
Oh, whoa. All right, the guy speaks really quickly. I'm curious about the accent. You guys nailed the accent yesterday. Yesterday, we heard a Southern accent. We heard Colonel Sanders from Kentucky Fried Chicken. So let's see if you can recognize the accent. You can tell me a little bit about what's going on in the scene as well. Well, the scene, the speech, whatever it may be. All right, here it is, folks. I'm going to give it to you for a second time. Jot down what you hear.
Yeah, because I don't have that much material, really. No, I told a dreadful story about how I got trapped in my house. My finger got jammed in a window, and I had to call for help, and I was just wearing underwear at the time, and they were...
Hey, Damian, what's crack-a-lackin', buddy?
Hey, Alberto, I was planning to do some sports this week. What about playing baseball?
Ooh, baseball. I love it. But I'm not sure yet. Can we touch base next week?
Touch base. Estamos en contacto, ¿no? Hablamos en algún momento. Yeah, okay. Let's touch base. Okay, what about basketball? Do you want to play basketball?
Oh, man, I love basketball. It's one of my favorite sports. But I don't know if I can this weekend because I've already got plans. Oh, man, that's the way the ball bounces.
That's the way the ball bounces. Así están las cosas, ¿no? Así bota la pelota. Así bota la pelota. That's the way the ball bounces. I love that expression. Okay, what about tennis? Do you want to play tennis?
Well, I love tennis, but I'm not really a good player. If you don't mind playing with a novice, the ball's in your court, buddy.
La bola está en mi campo, ¿eh? La pelota está en mi tejado. All right. Do you want to play some soccer?
Sure, I'd love to play some soccer or football, as you call it. What time do we kick off?
Perfect. We're kicking off at 9. Are you available?
Sure, but I might have to play some golf before with some friends. It's par for the course.
It's par for the course. Es lo normal, ¿no? Es lo normalito, lo que se hace.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what about billiards? Do you like playing billiards?
Yeah, but right now I'm behind the 8 ball.
I'm behind the 8 ball. Estás detrás de la bola 8, como que llevas las de perder.
Yeah. Wow, a lot of idiomatic expressions here.
Muy buenas expresiones. Si es que así da gusto aprender inglés con un profe como Alberto y un poquito de creatividad, tienes This Book is the Shit. El mejor libro para aprender inglés que te has echado a la cara in your life. Píllatelo, vas a disfrutar mogollón de dibujos para que lo aprendas todo fácil, con conexiones lógicas y divertidas. Es la manera más sencilla y más divertida de aprender inglés. No te la pierdas.
Damián, you're such a good sport. Te enrollas. You can pick up your copy of This Book is the Shit at
Vaughantienda.com.
It's the Shit.
That's right, folks. This book is the shit, my latest book, and you guys should check it out if you hadn't. It's a lot of fun. There's tons of different illustrations in it and so much more. And as always, as with all our materials, not just mine, it's made with TLC. Do you guys remember what TLC stands for? Tender loving care. El toque de cariño. You probably know TLC from the group. Don't go chasing waterfalls. Just stick to the rivers and the lakes that you used to. 'Cause you know you're gonna have it your way or nothing else. Great group. And if you know their name, TLC, then you know how to say con cariño. What's the secret ingredient in my cooking? I put a little TLC in it. The same ingredient we put here in the radio show on all our programs and all our materials at Vaughn. I would go as far as saying it's magical. All right, let's see. We've got a couple different fronts open. You guys have heard the Say What soundbite twice now. You'll hear it an additional 2 times. We're going to take a look at our pop quiz, where I wanted you guys to use el siempre y cuando o siempre que. And this is when we have a condition, una condición, ¿no? Siempre que. Iré siempre que no llueva. I'll go as long as. Y fijaos, as long as se dice como una sola. As long as it doesn't rain. I'll go as long as. So no te aprendas as long as como 3 palabras en sí, sino como un sonido. As long as. I'll go as long as you go. Okay, well then we'll both go then. All right, let's see. Chris is the first one to participate. She's given us 2 examples here. She says, I'll go to Madrid as long as I can find, oh no, I put in the can. As long as I find an affordable accommodation. All right. Yo lo diría con can. It's correct, pero me suena siempre que pueda encontrar. As long as I can find an affordable accommodation. Well, good luck, Chris Valrol. I would offer you to stay at my house, but I don't live anywhere near the center of Madrid. But I'm sure you can find something. Hey, anybody got a sofa Chris can crash on? Hey, I'm trying, Chris. I can help you out there. Let's see, the second one. You'll go to the park providing that you make your bed. All right. Now, this is an interesting one because I would say naturally provided that. Okay, provided. But I'm looking here, and you can also say providing that, right? So I'll go, I've never used that one, and I haven't really heard it, but it's correct, Chris, so wonderful job. I would say, as I said before, as long as 9 times out of 10. No, I never say provided. I never say provided that. And I've never said providing that. But it's good to know it. Again, you don't need to know you don't need to use every word you know. It's good to know it. Put it in your memory bank. Provided that, or as I just discovered, providing that. Again, the one I would say naturally, the one that just rolls off my tongue is as long as. All right. Great job there, Chris. There's my wife. Hello, Diana. Bullseye. Diana, a bullseye. Okay. All right. Hey, my head works like that. I'm always translating things all the time. All right, let's see. Anix is in the house. What's up, Anix? Great to have you, bringing your magic as always. And she says, morning there. The say what soundbite. She says, I think it's an interview. There's a man who speaks a mile a minute, by the way. So it seems like we've started the season with some fast talkers. Hey, that's what you guys are telling me, both today and yesterday. So there's a man who speaks a mile a minute, by the way. He's talking about his house or getting trapped in it. I think he's Canadian. Wonderful job, Anix. Really great job over there. All right, he isn't Canadian, but he's North American. So no, he's not. Never mind. My bad. He's not North American. All right, let's see. Chris Valrol says, I heard a man whose accent I can't pinpoint. I'm giving you a totally native for that pinpoint. No puedo precisar. No, I can't pinpoint it. He's being interviewed, and he speaks faster than Speedy Gonzalez. So I only got a few words. Something happened with his house, a window. Well, I'll tell you what, ladies, you are both on the right track. Great job, Anix and Chris Valrol. Anybody else want to participate? Anybody else have an opinion they'd like to share about what they've heard? Because if not, we are going to move on to what is perhaps our most challenging section every day. I think you know that section well, and some of you might even dread, temer, some of you might even dread this section. It's your Spelling Bee.
Spelling Bee. Spelling Bee. Spelling Bee. Spelling Bee. Spelling Bee.
All right, folks, it's our Spelling Bee here on the show with no name. And remember the Spelling Bee. Oh, what's going on there? Oh, maybe it has something to do with ships, with boats. Interesting. All right, well, our Spelling Bee, as you know, is the most challenging section we have on the show, I think, because especially on the first go, I don't care if you get it. I'm ruthless, despiadado. I'm just not interested. You don't get it, it's not my problem, is it? Now, that's not the real Alberto. That's not me. But unfortunately, you're going to find people like that who say, okay, WXYZ L2341. You got it? Good. Okay, great. Fantastic. Right? That's a reality that you will find, that you've come across it in Spain or wherever you're listening from. Not even a language thing. Some people want to put some TLC, to use that word, into what they do. And some people just want to scrape by and do the minimum. And I think you know from context what I mean by scrape by. Como patinar, ¿no? Hacer lo mínimo, sin esfuerzo, right? And you're bothering them if you ask them to do their job. We've all, unfortunately, run into those people. The good news, we've all run into some amazing people who say, oh, wait, let me help you. Let me help you with your... And you're like, wow, that guy did not have to do that. And he went above and beyond, as we say. Let's see some more comments quickly. Diana, my wife, says, it sounds to me as Hugh Grant. It sounds to me like Hugh Grant, right? In vez de as, it sounds like. Me suena a. Well, you know what? I can tell you didn't listen to yesterday's show, because yesterday was Hugh Grant, wasn't it? No, yesterday wasn't Hugh Grant. It was Hugh Grant's birthday, though, yesterday. But this is not Hugh Grant. Hugh, subvención, como hemos visto. Hugh, conceder. And by the way, the word hue, pero se escribe, no se escribe como su nombre. H-U-E es tonalidad, tinte, when we talk about colors. So Hugh has an interesting hue in his hair, no? Color, tonalidad. I know you love my corny jokes. All right, Chris Valrol says, thank you, AA. I only need an accommodation in Madrid for the trivia night. I have a friend in Parla, and I can stay at her place. All right. Well, that's great news. And Chris, I'm sure you can crash at anybody's place, as long as they have room. The reason I'm telling you don't want to crash at my place is we live far. We live pretty far away from what is the center of Madrid. And any of you who have ever been to Madrid, the center of Madrid is really the M30. Everything that's in the M30, todo dentro la M30 would be kind of like the core of the city. The kernel, as we said yesterday, el meollo, right? We looked at that word because it's pronounced exactly like coronel. All right, my amigos, are you ready for today's spelling bee? This is round one. We'll see how you guys do. Let's capitalize the first letter of every name, of every number and name here. Let's go. Let's fly. The first one is CUNARD space LINE. The second one is RMS space LUSITANIA. The third one, JOHN space BROWN space SHIPYARD. Woo. The fourth one is GLASGOW space CLYDEBANK. The fifth one is SCOTLAND. And the sixth one is QUENSTOWN dash NEW space YORK. All right, let's see if anybody can get those. Not going to be easy because I flew through them, but I do that on purpose. I fly through the first round because it's reserved, for superstars, super students who can take the heat, que pueden aguantar la presión. The word heat in English is another way of saying pressure, right? Can you take the heat? Let's take a look over here, my amigos. Going once, going twice. Tough one then, huh? Let's see. German says, hi, guys. Good morning. Good morning to you, German. It's great to hear from you, as always. Hope you had a lovely summer. German also says, granted, there's so many Hughs to Hugh Grant. I love it. Granted. This, German, what you just proved to me there is that you, my friend, are a wordsmith. Okay, a wordsmith es un maestro de la palabra. If you're a locksmith, eres un maestro con llaves y cerraduras. You're a locksmith. If you're a blacksmith, es con metal. So if you're a wordsmith, that means you're really good at words. And if you're a Will Smith, it means you get slapped at the Oscars. All right, let's see. Looks like we might have a winner here. Are you kidding me? You've got to be kidding me. Let's see. The first person to take a stab at it is none other than your amigo, Born to Iron Man. And remember, he got yesterday's on the first go. So he's going for a perfect record so far this semester. Let's see how he did. The first one is correct, sir. The second one is correct. The third one is missing a letter. The fourth one is correct. The fifth one is correct. The sixth one is correct. Almost. I'm going to give you an applause for effort. But as you know, here we're looking for a little more than just effort. We are looking for perfection here in the spelling bee. But don't worry, we're going to take a quick commercial break right now. And when we come back, we're going to go over these words a second time. I will slow down. Oh, wait a second. Hang on a second. It looks like Chris Valrol is taking a stab at it. And Chris, at first glance, they look right. We'll find out if Chris Valrol got them on the first go. Born to Iron Man, excellent effort, but we're missing one little letter. And in this section, I want it all. I want it all. All right, folks, we'll be right back with much more. So stick around. Hello, amigos. Welcome back. Welcome back to part 3 of today's show with no name here on Vaughn Radio. We've got a lot of stuff to do here in the third part of today's show. We're going to kick off with today's confusing words, our homophones. After that, we'll listen to our Say What soundbite for the third time. Then we've got round 2 of today's spelling bee. We've got Name That Movie, Name That Lyric, Famous Birthdays, Double Trouble. Holy shit. We've got a lot of stuff to do, folks. As always, we are rocking and rolling you through your morning here on the Show with No Name on Vaughn Radio. Right after today's show, you have got a date with Nacho and Jimena in Test Your English. After that, you've got the lunchtime show with Rob and Andy, Best Buds. You've also got Let's Get Random with Jules Linares. You've got the Salad with Dave Boys. You've got Kyle Miller's Drive Time, Frankly Speaking with Chris Frank, Richard Vaughn Live, the Pro Bow Show with Rob Grams, and Fitz's program, No Excuses. And don't forget about Jessica Fernandez and her program on weekends, The Hour to Empower. Remember, you can get everything by downloading our free Vaughn Radio app. And my amigos, now it's time for Homophones on the Show with No Name.
Homophones on the show with no name. It's homophones time, cause homophones rhyme. They sound the same on the show with no name. The show with no name. Homophones on the show with no name. Cause homophones time, cause homophones rhyme. They sound the same on the show with no name. The show with no name. The show with no name. The show with no name.
That's right, my amigos. It's homophones here on the show with no name. And we've got some words today that I've heard mispronounced quite a bit. Let's see if A, you're familiar with the words, and B, if you're familiar with their pronunciation, and if you know if they sound alike or not. The first word is zumbido, zumbar. So it's like a hum, right? A humming or vibrating sound. It's also the sound that a mosquito or insect makes, right? It's also excitement, right? So there's a lot of excitement around something. It's also estar con el puntillo, not to be drunk, but to have a It's also un corte de pelo militar. So, wow. Es también, si añadimos off, es largarse, esfumarse, go away. So, wow, it's a very rich word over there. And the second word, I think you're all familiar with because you say this word in Spanish. I just want to know if you know how to pronounce it in English. And that word is autobús. Autobús is our word. All right, so the first word, zumbido, zumbar, alboroto, ruido, revuelo, entusiasmo, estar con el pedo, el mareo. También telefonazo, llamada, dame un telefonazo. And it's got many, many phrasal verbs that go with it as well. And the second word is one I know you know how to say it in Spanish because you use it. In fact, you put the word auto before it. But do you know how to pronounce it in English? Is it pronounced the same as the first word? You can let us know in today's homophones. Also, let me give you today's Say What soundbite here. This is the Say What soundbite for the third time.
Yeah, because I don't have that much material, really. No, I told a dreadful story about how I got trapped in my house. My finger got jammed in a window, and I had to call for help, and I was just wearing underwear at the time, and they were...
¿Quieres estar al tanto de todas nuestras promociones en la Vaughan Esfera? Well, now you can be in the loop. Puedes estar al tanto. Puedes enterarte de ofertas, novedades y eventos. Y mucho más. Puedes encontrar todo eso en grupovaughan.com/cursos destacados. Eso es, en grupovaughan.com/cursos destacados. Ahí tendrás toda la información de última hora. Guárdalo como favorito. grupovaughan.com/cursos destacados. And stay in the loop.
That's right, my amigos. That's right. It's grupovaughn.com/cursos destacados. And that's where you can find out about all our courses. You can also find out about materials if you'd like at vaughntienda.com. And as I always say, if you love learning with us here on the air, well, then you'll love learning with us in our classes and also in our materials. Let this year be the year you grab your English by the horns. All right, and speaking of grabbing things by the horns, it looks like German is the only one who knows today's homophones. Surprised. I thought it would be easier than that. All right. Well, German, the words are right. And German says they are not homophones. Chris Valrol says, I trust German. I'm going to say and are not homophones. Okay, so German and Chris Valrol are saying that zumbido, alboroto, and autobús are not pronounced the same. Well, folks, they are 100% correct. The first word is buzz. Say it with me. Buzz Lightyear. You know it from Buzz Lightyear. Buzz, buzz. So let's look at it in its different incarnations. The first one, there is a buzz around the club ahead of the match. Ruido, emoción, revuelo. Okay? I really get a buzz out of performing in front of people. Me da un subidón, entusiasmo. Last night, he was buzzed after 2 glasses of wine, or he had a buzz. You say el puntito. It's right before you're drunk. You're a little lightheaded, right? Give me a buzz later. Give me a buzz. Dame un toque. To buzz off. If you tell somebody to buzz off, you're telling them F-U-C-K off. Oh, come on, man. Buzz off. Buzz off. And that is that first word, buzz. It's and z, buzz. It rhymes with cuz. Hey, cuz. Cuz, que es corto para primo, cousin. Hey, buzz. Hey, cuz, did you get a buzz cut? A buzz cut is el corte militar. Why? Because they buzz you down, right? And it's obviously, as we said, bzz, it's an onomatopoeic word. But a lot of times we used it in this day and age with, there's a lot of buzz, a lot of hype, a lot of revelo. You say, I always get that word wrong. Revuelo. Buzz, buzz. All right. And the second word is bus. Bus. So let's say both words together. Did you hear that buzz from the bus? So buzz, bus. Primero, el sonido vocal es más corto. So buzz es más, se alarga. And the other one's bus, bus. Apenas se dice, right? Bus. Y el primero, el sonido es zzz, buzz. Give me a buzz, cuz. And the second one, I'm going to catch the bus, Gus. Eso es una expresión. Get on the bus, Gus, like Gustavo, right? Because it rhymes. And bus rhymes with trust. It rhymes with, let me think, cuss. Decir palabrotas. C-U-S-S. I told you not to cuss on the bus. Okay? And then there's another thing. I don't know if you guys know this, but I was talking about this the other day in a restaurant with my niece because she loves learning English. And I said, oh, that guy has to come and bus the table. And she said, autobusear la mesa? What? And it was a logical question. He has to come and he has to bus the table. Pasar un autobús. No. The thing is, when you go to a restaurant, you've got a waiter, you've got a bartender, and sometimes you have a busboy or a busser. A busser would be male or female. And this is simply the person who takes the dirty plates off the table. So the busser is there. So you're having your appetizers, and before your food comes out, the busboy or the busser goes to the table and busses the table. And to bus es quitar todo lo sucio. Hey, that would be a really good double trouble. I just wrote it down so you can expect it in the future. All right, let's see. Great job, by the way. German and Chris Valrol. Let's see. German said, I had a bussing dinner. Then I heard a buzz. It was the 12 o'clock bus. A bussing? I don't know what you meant there, though. A bussing dinner. I'm a little bit confused. Buzzing dinner? Like it was, you were buzzing? I don't know. Because bussing? Well, bus is used with dinner, but in the way I just explained it, right? A busser, somebody who busses the table, takes the dirty stuff. It's kind of like the waiter's helper. The waiter brings the food to the table, gets the drinks. The busser just cleans the table and keeps making room for more food. To bus, okay? It reminds me of the word taxi. The word taxi, but also to taxi, when we're talking about an airport or on a plane, to taxi means los movimientos, I think you call them. So the plane was taxiing to the runway. Basically, everything that's not being parked or taking off. So when the plane is on the runway, it's taking off or landing. When the plane is at the gate, it's either pushing back or arriving at the gate, right? To push back, because they don't go in reverse, planes. Por eso está esa maquinilla. Literally pushes it back. And todos esos movimientos que se llaman en español, que te llevan de la puerta a la pista y viceversa, that's called taxiing. And I think I told you a really funny story about that. I was coming in from a trip, and my wife said, okay, my brother's going to come pick you up, right? So he said, my brother's going to come pick you up and in a little bit. And I said, well, I'm taxiing. And my wife is like, what, are you crazy? I told my brother to go pick you up. And I said, well, no. She understood. I'm taking a taxi. I'm taxiing. And I was saying, no, I'm actually arriving at my gate. Like, el avión se está moviendo por pista. All right. German says, I think busing means the food is amazing. Some slang I heard. Not sure, though. Perhaps, German. I've never heard it. I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but it doesn't ring a bell. A mí no me suena mucho. All right. Well, great job, folks. And speaking of ringing a bell, it's time for round 2 of today's Spelling Bee. And I'm looking over here. Remember, we said Chris Valrol took a stab at it? Let's see, Chris. It looked right at first glance. Let's check it. The first one is correct. The second one is also correct. The third one is correct. The fourth one is correct. The fifth one's correct. And so is the sixth one. Wonderful job. Excellent job, Chris Valrol, rocking it in today's Spelling Bee. All right, here's round 2. I expect everybody to get it, because I'm going to go real slow. Not slow, but I'm not going to speed through it. I'm going to go at a normal pace. Un ritmo normal y corriente. Nothing too crazy. All right, here we go. The first one is CUNARD space LINE. The second one is RMS space LUSITANI. The third one is JOHN space BROWN space SHIPYARD. The fourth one is GLASGOW space CLYDEBANK. The fifth one, SCOTLAND. And the last one, QUENSTOWN dash NEW space YORK. Listen carefully. Can you hear that? No. Listen closer. I'm not talking about the birds chirping. I'm talking about everybody speaking English and feeling comfortable. Listen. This is what it's like at Vaughan Town, a peaceful place where you can really learn English and lose your inhibitions. There's a reason it's one of our star programs. Vaughan Town, lose your fear of speaking English. If you want more information about this immersive experience, go to grupovaughn.com or give us a call, 911-385831. Lose your fear of speaking English and express yourself with clarity at Vaughan Town. Yes, Vaughan Town, and now you've got Weekend Town as well. And we've got another thing on the weekends. We've got the Disney Vaughan. It's amazing. Disney Vaughan, where the kids learn English with Disney characters and some of our greatest teachers. And don't forget, there's a collection. There's an awesome collection, the Disney Vaughan collection, which I have, and it's awesome. And it's not just my opinion. That's my daughter's opinion as well. German, I just looked up the word you said here. What does bussing in slang mean? And it means extremely good or excellent. It's African American English slang. That's why I haven't heard it. I have African American friends, but I don't speak in African American slang. It's like hip hop. I always call that hip hop slang. Hey, it's great. Again, I wouldn't use it in a job interview, for example. Okay. But why not? Why not? It's a great word. And we learn that other meaning of the word to bus as well. But we're not talking about buses in today's Spelling Bee. No way. We're talking about ships. Not sheep. Ship. Sheep. Bah. Ship. Right? Say this with me. There's a sheep on the ship. There's a sheep on the ship. Now, ¿cómo me dices que hay dos? There are two sheep on the ship. Why? Porque el plural de sheep es sheep. Vamos a hacer otra. Hay un ciervo en la nave. Así practicamos el ship también y en algunos plurales irregulares. There's a deer on the ship. No sheep, ship. There's a deer on the ship. Dime que hay dos. There are two deer on the ship. There are two deer. So there's another one where it doesn't change, right? One deer, two deer. One sheep, two sheep. I don't know why we didn't say sheeps and deers, but somebody decided that those are irregular plurals. Jot them down so you've got it in your notes. All right, this is about boats, specifically the RMS Lusitania. And it's because today in the year 1906, we always like to learn a little English with history. In the year 1906, the RMS Lusitania, which that was number 2 in our spelling bee, which was made by the Cunard Line. The Cunard Line was our number 1 word. So we had number 1, Cunard Line, the same ones that made the Titanic, I believe, or no? Now I'm getting confused. Cunard? No, that was White Star. Yeah. See, I'm getting confused. Oh, yeah, that's what it was. The Queen Mary, the Queen Elizabeth, the QE2. Sure, that's why I know them. Some of the most luxury liners out there, the most luxurious liners, right? And so Cunard Line number 1, RMS Lusitania number 2. Number 3 was John Brown Shipyard. And I don't know how you say that in Spanish. Let's take a look. Shipyard. It's a place where ships are built. Astillero. Aha. So a dock worker, alguien que trabaja in las, you have another name for this. Let's see. So we just looked at astillero shipyard, and a dock worker is usually somebody who works at the docks, estibador. It's a little bit different. A dock worker loads and unloads ships, and at a shipyard, that's usually where they're built or they're maintained or repaired. All right. So this was launched from the John Brown shipyard, which was located in Glasgow. Glasgow. Number 4. Americans say Glasgow, but I've heard them say Glasgow. They say it more like go. Correct me if I'm wrong. If there are any Scottish people listening right now, I think they say Glasgow, but Americans would say Glasgow. And the area was Clydebank. So number 4 was Glasgow, Clydebank. Number 5 is Scotland. That's the country. Have any of you been to Scotland? Man, it seems like an amazing place. Really. It just seems like it's from another world, even though it's not too far from Spain. Scotland, where the people speak Scottish and they drink Scotch. Scotch is whiskey from Scotland. No offense, Fitz. Well, you guys know about that, right? The battle between the Irish and the Scottish for who's got the best whiskey. And you know what the Japanese say? We do. Hey, Japanese, I don't know very much about whiskey, but I know they're usually really good at things that they set out to do because they study how the masters do it. And I know it's gotten more and more popular. Personally, I'm not a big whiskey drinker, but when I was in Dublin, I did a whiskey tasting. A friend of mine wanted to do it, and I said, you know what? It's not about the whiskey. It's about the experience. And can I say something? And I'm going to say this. I'm not getting paid. I didn't get any free tickets or anything like that. If you go to Dublin, you should definitely do the Jameson Brewery. Jameson whiskey. A brewery is donde se elabora alcohol, right? It's or actually it's the distillery. It's a little bit differently. In fact, they tell you about that. Distillery is destilería. It's where alcohol is distilled. And that's what she said. She said a brewery is where it's made and a distillery is where it's distilled. And even if you don't like whiskey, and I'm not saying I don't like it, I don't drink a lot of hard liquor, period. But I was absolutely fascinated by the story, the stories, I should say, behind it. You know, how the Irish had to fight to make their whiskey seen and to make it popular. And what they did, and this was amazing, 3 enemies got together. 3 of the biggest whiskey distillers in Ireland got together and they said, we are going to make our benchmark really high. And they were successful. Benchmark is punto de referencia, a benchmark, referente, estándar de comparación. Great word if you didn't know it, benchmark. So then the last one in our spelling bee is where it went on its maiden voyage. Its maiden voyage is su principal, su viaje, primer viaje. Its maiden voyage. And that was from Queenstown to New York, New York. The city so nice, they named it twice. Folks, we've got to go to a quick commercial break. We'll be right back with the rest of today's show. So stick around. Hey, amigos, welcome back. Welcome back. I can't believe it. It's the fourth and final part of today's show with no name on Vaughn Radio. Time really flies when you're having fun. And thank you, amigos, for having fun with me each and every day. You guys rock. And I'd love to celebrate with you. I'd love to celebrate 16 seasons, 16 years on the air. The show with no name. And the exact date is October 2nd. And when Rob asked me, he said, you want to do the next trivia night? And I looked at my calendar and I said, when is it? October? And I said, wait a second. That's the show with no name anniversary. I couldn't think of a better night to be with my students and with my friends here at Vaughn Radio. So join us. We'll be at Roll Madrid, Calle de Amaniel 23. It'll be tons of fun. It's a free event, and it'll be kicking off at 8 p.m. It's Vaughn Radio Trivia Night, and we're also celebrating 16 seasons of the show with no name. Join us. I hope you guys can make it. If you're in Madrid and you don't come, I'm going to be really upset. Seriously. You want an opportunity to practice your English? Can't think of a better one. At a party with your friends and your teachers. All right, amigos, it's time for another challenge. It's our double
trouble, baby. Yeah, you know what time it is. Give it up. Double trouble. I said double trouble. Double trouble. I said double trouble.
That's right, my amigos. It's Double Trouble here on the show with no name. And Double Trouble is definitely a challenging section because today, on top of it all, it's not a double trouble. It's a triple trouble, amigos. Triple. That means you have to use the same word 3 times. And one of them you should know. Definitely. So one of them is like a giveaway. It's regalado. All right. Cíñete al guión. I remember when I learned that expression. Muy parecido. Cíñete al guión. Si quieres que nos quedamos por aquí. No seas una persona aburrida. All right. So, cíñete al guión. Si quieres que nos quedemos por aquí. No seas una persona aburrida. You have to use the same word 3 times. Si quieres que no nos vayamos. Think about it. Commercial break. What do I say to you? Okay, we'll be right back. So, quédate por aquí. No te muevas. Okay. I'm trying to help. Okay, so cíñete al guión si quieres que nos quedemos por aquí. No seas una persona aburrida. That is your triple trouble. Good luck. Also, let me give you the say what soundbite here. This is the 4th and final listen.
Yeah, because I don't have that much material, really. No, I told a dreadful story about how I got trapped in my house. My finger got jammed in a window, and I had to call for help, and I was just wearing underwear at the time, and they were...
¿Qué tiene que ver la Universidad de Oxford con Vaughan? Pues muchísimo. Es una alegría anunciar que Vaughan ha sido certificado como centro examinador de Oxford Test of English. A partir del próximo mes de marzo 2023, podrás hacer los exámenes de Oxford Test of English en los centros de Vaughan. Si quieres más información sobre esta iniciativa de Vaughan y Oxford, Puedes ver más en nuestra página web, grupobaugan.com. O bien síguenos en redes sociales para más información. Oxford Test of English con Vaughan. Brilliant! Absolutely brilliant. If you want to get your Oxford Test of English, you can get it over at Vaughan. Remember, guys, you can go to grupavaughan.com/cursos destacados. You can also follow on social media and get some more information there. Or what I highly suggest is stop by in person. If you're in Madrid, Barcelona, Bilbao, Vigo, Valladolid, Valencia, Santander, or Zaragoza, we'd love to meet you. All right, let's take a look over here, see if anybody got our triple trouble. Chris Valrol says, I've been to Scotland 3 times. Oh, lucky duck. You lucky duck. He estado 3 veces. I've been to Scotland 3 times. I drove all over the country. I'm completely in love. They also have an excellent cider. I love Ireland as well, but I've only been to Dublin. Well, Ireland, I think they're two. I'm not trying to compare them. I know they're very different, especially when it comes to whiskey. They don't agree over who the king of whiskey is, but they're both, from what I know, again, this is just me here, based on the experience I've had with Scottish people and Irish people, because I've never been to Scotland and I've only been to Dublin, like Chris Valrol. But those people, those places have a certain magic. It's true. There are castles, dragons. All right, maybe not dragons. Who knows? Maybe you'll run into a dragon. So, Chris, when I go to Scotland, I will be picking your brain, haciéndote preguntas, ¿no? Enterándome de cosas que sepas tú. All right, let's see. German is taking a stab at our triple trouble today. Let's see. The first part, stick to the script. Very good. So far, so good. Cíñete al guión. Same thing. Stick to, aférrate. Stick to the script if you want us to stick around. Okay. So far, so good. Stick to the script, if you want us to stick around, you should know. All of you should know stick around. And the last part, he said, don't be a stick. You're just missing 3 words after stick. Hay una expresión que quiere decir que eres un aburrido. So it's not a stick, it's frase hecha. So, persona poco aventurera, persona aburrida, cerrada. Somebody who is unadventurous is a good translation, right? Somebody who's, oh no, I don't want to take any risks. Oh, come on, let's do something crazy for once, right? All right, folks, let's see. Chris Valrol says, stick to the script if you want us to stick around. Cíñete al guión si quieres que nos quedemos por aquí, si no nos movamos. Great job, Chris. Don't be a stick. All right. Well, again, I'm missing, it's una frase hecha here. All right. And it's a stick in the mud. A stick in the mud. So a stick es un palo, ¿no? And in the mud is en el barro, como que no te mueves. Ahí estás parado. Think about it. Se cae a stick, a twig, a branch falls off a tree in the forest, and it falls into the mud, and it just sticks there. Se queda ahí, and it doesn't move. It just stuck in the mud. So to be a stick in the mud is somebody who's not very adventurous, somebody who's pretty boring and doesn't really take risks. So excellent effort, German and Chris. Today's triple trouble, stick to the script if you want us to stick around. Don't be a stick in the mud. There you go, my amigos. And I'll tell you what, I think it's time for a date that we have on every show. We are going to the movies. Name that movie. All right, my amigos. Let's take a look at today's Name That Movie. I'm going to give you a little synopsis of the movie, and then you guys tell me if you recognize the movie, and then we'll learn some English from it as well, as always. All right. After their friend dies, 3 men decide to fulfill their childhood dream by going on a camping expedition for the lost D.B. Cooper bounty with calamitous results. Whoa, sounds exciting. Well, let's start with D.B. Cooper. You know the story of D.B. Cooper? Well, D.B. Cooper is a guy who basically hijacked a plane. They think that's his name. Nobody really knows his name. And you can search. It's a very interesting case. D.B. Cooper. And basically, to sum it up over here, the guy jumped out of a plane. He threatened the crew, la tripulación. He asked for money, which they gave him, and then he jumped out of the plane. There was a back door on this kind of plane, and with a parachute that he got, I guess, from someone on board, from the crew, he jumped out of the plane. And, nobody knows if he survived. There's so many people who claim to be him, and they don't even know if his name is D.B. Cooper. That's what he put on the ransom note. No, cuando pide el rescate, he says D.B. Cooper. So it's an interesting one. Now, on July 8th, 2016, the FBI officially closed the D.B. Cooper case after 45 years. But it's still a cold case because there are a lot of D.B. Coopers, but nobody's ever found a body either. So that's interesting. And if everybody's D.B. Cooper, maybe nobody's D.B. Cooper. Maybe everybody's just trying to make money off this famous case. So after their friend dies, después de la muerte de sus amigos, 3 men decide to cumplir, their childhood dream by going on a camping expedition for the lost D.B. Cooper. Okay. The lost D.B. Cooper bounty. And bounty, remember we said that he jumped with some money? Well, the bounty is la recompensa. Okay. Bounty is a reward for capturing somebody. So they're like, we're going to find him. We're going to find out who the real D.B. Cooper is. With calamitous, that means horrible, with calamitous results. And I want you to pronounce that word with me. No results, results. La S es como una zeta, results. All right, ladies and gentlemen, give it up for your classmate, Chris Valrol. The movie is called Without a Paddle like un remo, an oar. And it comes from an idiomatic expression that says, I'm headed up a river with a boat and no paddle, or I'm headed up a creek with no paddle. To go up the river or to go up a creek with no paddle, it means voy en una situación súper mala, okay? I'm headed up a river with a boat and no paddle, okay? So without a paddle means estoy jodido. Situación crítica y empeorando, okay? Chris says, de perdidos al río. Hey, it's a good translation, right? Because it has to do with voy contra corriente y sin remo. Like, tengo todas las de perder is what it means. Without a paddle. Great idiomatic expression. If you ever come across an expression, because I know it happens, maybe you're reading, a book or an article, well, it means that you are in trouble. You're up a creek without a paddle or up a river without a paddle, right? Se suele usar con up. All right, let's take a look at the scene over here. Dan says, I wouldn't be so jealous of me if I were you. No estaría tan celoso de mí, yo que tú, si yo fuera tú, if I were you. Every day, I develop some new and exciting phobia. We say the word phobia, pero es con PH si se escribe en inglés, ¿no? Como telephone. And then Jerry says, "Oh, you're exaggerating again." And Dan says, "I'm afraid of the dark, Jerry. Fear of the dark." It's an Iron Maiden song. I'm afraid of. Tengo miedo a. Tengo fobia de. I'm afraid of the dark. ¿Sabes cómo lo decimos si tenemos muchísimo que nos paraliza? I'm petrified of the dark. ¿Ok? Hablando de convertirse, me convierto en piedra. I'm petrified of the dark. So, Jerry answers, "So, ¿y qué? There's a lot of people that are afraid of the dark. Eso es muy común, ¿no?" And Dan says, "Well, I'm afraid of small spaces, sitios pequeños." And Jerry says, again, "Not that abnormal. No es tan anormal, no es tan raro." And Dan says, "Cellophane?" And cellophane is kind of plastic that you can put over lights. So let's see how you call it. Celofán. Ah, mira, celofán. We call it cellophane. La C es como una S, y no es fan, it's fane. And he goes, "Cellophane." And then Tom says, "Like saran wrap?" And saran wrap, you say papel albal for aluminum, right? This paper. Well, this one is the plastic one. El envoltorio plástico que compras. And you can call it plastic wrap, makes sense, or Saran, like Susan Sarandon. Why? Because that's the most famous brand. Papel Albal. Wasn't Albal the most famous brand? So like Saran wrap or plastic wrap. And then Jerry says, "Yeah, you're alone on that one. Esa es tu fobia, tuya sola." And Dan says, "I won't even keep it in the house anymore. Ya no lo tengo en la casa because I'm afraid that somehow it'll get draped over my head." And a drape es una cortina. So if something gets draped over your head, it makes sense. It'll get draped over my head and stick to my mouth. We looked at the word stick in our triple trouble. Stick around, stick to the script, a stick in the mud. Also, stick is pegarse, right? It'll stick to my mouth and nose, and I'll suffocate. How pathetic is that? And Tom agrees. He says, "Very." There you go, ladies and gentlemen. It's not only a good movie, but also we can learn from the title, Without a Paddle. All right, folks, time for a little famous birthday trivia.
Famous birthdays for you. Famous birthdays for me. Famous birthdays for everyone on the show with no name. Oi, oi, oi. Birthdays for him. Famous birthdays for her. Famous birthdays for everyone on the show with no name.
All right, amigos, welcome to Famous Birthdays here on the show with no name. And let's see what we've got for you on today's famous birthdays. Now, I said this guy's name yesterday because Hugh Grant, I said he was in one of his movies pretty recently. So this guy, if you pay attention to the show, I mentioned this English director yesterday. Now, his name is Tipo or Tio, right? That's a common name. And he usually does like gangster films. He's also done the Sherlock Holmes movies with Robert Downey Jr. He got really famous, though, in 1998 with this crime comedy, Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. Sé que cambiasteis el nombre de eso. Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. Then his second film really blew him up, and that was Snatch. You call it Cerdos y Diamantes, if I'm not mistaken. Then he directed Swept Away, which starred Madonna, which was panned by critics. If something is panned by critics, they hate it. So he was married to Madonna. Yeah, that's right. And he's directed many movies as well. Number two, this person was born in 1958. And he is probably one of my favorite screenplay writers. Screenplays, guion de película. He wrote Gremlins, The Goonies, The Young Sherlock Holmes, not the one that the first guy directed, which is more recent. Then he also directed Adventures in Babysitting. I love that one. I remember watching that. And I think the ones that put him on the map as a director, because he had written already some amazing films, is Home Alone and Home Alone 2. Also, Mrs. Doubtfire, also Harry Potter. So there's no doubt this guy is an ace, un as. And last but not least, this person was born in 1960, an English actor and producer. He's won an Academy Award, 2 BAFTA Awards, Golden Globes. I mean, he's got it all. And some of the movies you might know him from, well, Pride and Prejudice, The English Patient, Shakespeare in Love, The Importance of Being Earnest, The Girl with a Pearl Earring, Love Actually, Bridget Jones' Diary. Oh, my goodness. Oh, and Mamma Mia. Here we go again, it's my life. The movie based on the ABBA song and ABBA's life. And also The King's Speech, where he played George VI. And that was in 2010. He won the Academy Award for Best Actor. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Chris Valrol. Number 1, Guy Ritchie. Number 2, Chris Columbus. And number 3, not Christopher, Cristobal Colon, Chris Columbus and Colin Firth. And Colin Firth is also today's Say What soundbite, which was quite difficult. This is Colin Firth in an interview saying, yeah, because I don't have much material, really. Dice, sí, porque realmente no tengo material, comedia, no, rutinas. He goes, no, I told a dreadful story. Dreadful, horrible. I said to dread at the beginning of the show, temer. Oh, I dread doing that. Lo temo. I told a dreadful story about how I got trapped in my house. Te conté la última vez una historia esperpentosa en cómo me quedé atrapado en casa. My finger got jammed in a window, atascado, encerrado. My finger got jammed in a window, and I had to call for help. Y tuve que pedir ayuda. And I was just wearing underwear at the time. Y yo iba solo en gallumbos. Here's birthday boy Colin Firth.
Yeah, because I don't have that much material, really. No, I told a dreadful story about how I got trapped in my house. My finger got jammed in a window, and I had to call for help. And I was just wearing underwear at the time, and they were.
Hi, hello, Alberto. I think the song is. No? Sorry, bye.
Name that lyric, name that lyric, name that lyric, name that lyric only on the show with no name, the show with no name, the show with no name. Name that lyric only on the show with no name, the show with no name, the show with no name. It's name that lyric only on the show with no name.
All right, amigos, wonderful job today. Thank you. Thank you for learning and laughing and playing with me every day here on the show with no name. It's been an absolute pleasure. You guys, as always, you go above and beyond. And as Buzz Lightyear said, we looked at that word today, buzz. You should know how to pronounce it and all its many meanings, to infinity and beyond. Great job, guys. Keep up the great work and stay tuned, because up next, you've got the amazing Jimena Holiday and her program, Test Your English. You got amazing programs all afternoon here on Vaughn Radio. Just download the free app and you can learn with us on the go. All right, we're going to take a look at a song today by Fleetwood Mac. And the song is called Gypsy. Remember, this word in English we write with a Y. 2 Y's. It's very rare to find a word with 2 Y's. And the group is Fleetwood Mac. And the song starts out saying, so I'm back to the Velvet Underground. He vuelto con el Velvet Underground, el grupo muy famoso. Back to the floor that I love. He vuelto a la pista que me encanta. To a room with some lace. Lace, you say encaje. And paper flowers. Back to the gypsy that I was. Vuelvo a ser la gitana que era. to the gypsy that I was, and it all comes down to you. Y todo se reduce a ti. Well, you know that it does. Sabe que es verdad. Lightning strikes maybe once, maybe twice. Oh, and it lights up the night. Beautiful lyrics here. The song is Gypsy by Fleetwood Mac. Sing it with us. Thank you so much, everybody. We'll be back tomorrow with more. Ciao.